is the graduate coming? I know. I'm sending a message. I'm ready. I'm I'm trying to send a message, you know? I said I'm trying to send a message. I'm ready, you know? It's 10:37. I know. Technical difficulties per usual. What's in the red bag? Oh, cool. Is it like a repair kit or something? Oh, okay. I'm fine with that. Yeah, yeah. Is it? But couldn't good be good enough, Chris?
Yes, you would think so, right? We'll see what I say to that after I play my original. I'm like, oh, this is a pile of welcome.
Well, you know what? You can end that song whenever you want.
That's true. That's true.
You can just be like, we're done.
But truly, when you finish it yesterday, it's like, ooh, okay. Hey, everybody. It's good to see you all this morning. Well, I'm Chris over here with the guitar. This is Maya and Harrison. Excited to make some music with and for you this morning. We've been talking about this cease and resist thing, these rhythms of pausing that are both countercultural and hopefully healing for our own spirits. And this week, Ian is calling release, and I couldn't help but think of this song by OK Go, which they're a very very fun synthy poppy kind of band, and we're just a ragtag little acoustic trio today, but we're gonna do this anyway because it's gonna be fun. And so yeah, this song is called White Knuckles. Just like, can you picture that? Just like, oh, holding on tight. So hopefully this can be a good little reminder for you this morning about what you're holding on to and what you might be able to let go of. You never get that taste out of your mouth. You never get the paw prints out of the hen house now, and you can't go back the same way you came. Round up all the pieces, but they just don't fit the same. White knuckles, oh, maybe it's not so bad. So let your hair down now, white knuckles. Oh, maybe it's not so bad. Oh, go ahead and let it down. So come and let it all out. Let it bleed. Did you get what you want? Did you get what you need? I'm behind the lines, behind the walls. Tell me, was the bed you made really that bad after all? White knuckles, oh, maybe it's not so bad. So let your hair down now, white knuckles. Maybe it's not so bad. Go ahead and let it down now. Far enough. Everybody needs to sleep at night. Everybody needs a crutch, but couldn't good be good enough? 'Cause nothing ever doesn't change, but nothing changes much. White knuckles, maybe it's not so bad. So let your head down now, white knuckles. Oh, maybe it's not so bad. Go ahead and let it down, white knuckles. Ooh, maybe it's not so bad. So let your head down now, white knuckles. Oh, maybe it's not so bad. Just let it all come down, white knuckles. Ooh, maybe it's not so bad. Just let your head come down, white knuckles. Maybe it's not so bad. Just let it all come down.
Good morning, Fabric. I have to put my feet on the floor because I'm going to ask you to put your feet flat on the floor. And I want you to imagine you got roots shooting out your feet all the way down into the ground. And feel that rootedness and let that hold you so you can be a little free. We're singing about some wildflowers, and part of ceasing and resisting is grounding down so you can be that true self.
This is a new song by a guy named John Foreman. He's a guy from Switchfoot. And it really kind of stirs something in me, especially in this conversation. See the girl with the blue jeans stare, spit take laughing with the windblown hair. Don't let them change who you are. Empty pockets with a heart of gold, the kind of beauty can't be bought or sold. Don't let them change who you are. Sing who you are, who you are. Stay wild, wildflower. Stay wild, wildflower. You're the rose that's born between the pavement and the thorns. Stay wild, wildflower. Stay wild, wildflower.
Stay wildflower.
Big dreams of a small town girl, heart on her sleeve in a heartless world. Don't let them change who you are. Empty roads in your pickup truck, all you ever needed was that sky and a little luck. Don't let them change who you are. Who you are. Stay wild, wildflower. Stay wild, wildflower. You're the rose that's born between the pavement and the thorns. Stay wild, wildflower. Stay wild, wildflower.
Stay wild, wildflower. Stay wild. Stay wild. Stay wild.
Would you stay wild? Stay wild. Don't let them change who you are. You're the rose that's born between the pavement and the thorns. Stay wild, wildflower. Stay wild, wildflower. Stay wild, wildflower. Stay wild, wildflower. Yeah, thanks. Well, can we stand up together, please? Maybe this next one will feel a little more familiar. This is an old Tom Petty tune, kind of coming from that same sort of place. Whew. I didn't think I'd need to take a breath myself before this one, but yeah. I know I'm not the only one that for whom this song is kind of special. So this is called Wildflowers. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. Sail away, kill off the hours. You belong somewhere you feel free.
Run away, find your lover. Go away on bright noon. I have seen no other who compares with you.
You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. You belong with your love on your arm. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, go find a lover. Run away, let your heart be your guide. You deserve the deepest of cover. You belong home by and by. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong somewhere close to me. Far away from your trouble and worries. You belong somewhere you feel free. You belong somewhere you feel free. Yeah, thanks. You can go ahead and have a seat, please.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for choosing to be a part of Fabric today. There is coffee and tea right over there, and the seatbelt sign is off, so feel free to move about the cabin as you need. Down the hall and to your left, there are bathrooms. Just a ways past that, follow the signs on the wall, and you will find our gender-neutral, wheelchair-accessible, changing table-equipped bathroom that I personally like to go in because it's a little quieter. When you came in this morning, you should have been handed a Sunday paper. There's lots of great information about things coming up in that Sunday paper, including lots of information about next week, where we're doing nothing intentionally. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I know. I am very excited. Katie and I get to go visit my grandparents at their lake home next weekend. We are putting all of the ceasing and resisting we've been talking about these past couple weeks into practice by interrupting our usual business and doing nothing. So we won't be here next week. The week after next, we will also not be here. We will be being Fabric at Minnehaha Falls. And several weeks after that, I know, Fabric is back at the Falls for the summer. I am so excited. So 10:30 a.m., June 30th, Minnehaha Falls Bandstand is where we will be next. Sound good? Great. I will see you there. Also, in your Sunday paper, you should have gotten a little communication card, that white card tucked in there. Write down your prayers, your questions, your comments, your jokes, anything. We want to hear it. And then later you can stick it in the basket at the end of your row. Okay, that's all of the business stuff. I don't think I've said my name yet. I'm Della. I am on staff here with Fabric as the middle school, high school youth director and occasional site host. I am so grateful for this Fabric community because of all of the ways you all support me and my wife Katie and our dog Fern. But I am also grateful today that I get to bear witness to all of you and your lives growing and learning and changing and adventuring and all that goodness. As the end of the school year, which brings with it lots of change for lots of people, but especially for some graduates. Harrison and Natalie and Lily and Claudia have done the amazing, awe-inspiring, wonderful task of graduating high school. Let's give it up for them. Woo-hoo. So, you can see on the screens up here, we've got a QR code to a Menti link. I invite you to find your way there. The QR code is not on the Sunday paper. Ian literally made it 2 songs ago. So Menti link will also post it on our Instagram story, the link to the Menti room later today, just so you can take a moment to spread some well wishes to the graduates, any notes of encouragement or advice or silly little things that you remember from your high school graduation. Go ahead and pass that along. We'll make sure that the graduates get to hear all your wonderful words. I'd also like to invite Lynn and Maya and Heidi and Ren to join me over at the weaving wall, because we've got a little bit of recognition for our graduates too. So, here are these. I'll let you pass them out. With Fabric, we use this weaving wall to kind of signify our life woven together. There are moments that feel significant in our lives. There's a knot that I have tied on here when I started my position with Fabric. There's lots of important moments in our lives together marked on this cloth. And so for our graduates, we are taking a moment to weave in some cloth on their behalf as a reminder that as we have held them as part of our community all these past years that they've been with us, so too will we continue to hold them as part of our community going forward forever. Wherever the road may take them, they will always have community here with Fabric. So go ahead and tie your knots on in whatever way you want. Have at it, guys. The graduates will also be given a matching bit of cloth that I have here with some reminders to them. So, graduates, if you're listening wherever you are, Harrison's the only one actually here today, but wherever you are, I want you to remember, as you start to imagine where the road may take you, step out into brave uncertainty. With the people you meet along the way, I encourage you to choose connection and, of course, share warmth. Think big as you face life's challenges, and always, 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 above all else, put a little fun in the game and whimsify. Congratulations, graduates. Yay! More cheers. All right. Thank you, guys. Whoop, I think that was me. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have some calendar alerts for some stuff coming up that I didn't want to forget. Okay, stop. Okay, where was I? Yes, okay, today is about release. I wonder what we are releasing from. Let me just make sure that my phone is actually, okay, come on. All right. Okay, I guess I need to deal with this. So whatever we are releasing from, maybe our friend Nowak, expert on rest and Sabbath, can enlighten us on what release means when we are thinking about taking Sabbath and setting down our work.
Why, hello, Fabric. Nowak here, just getting back up into my favorite perch after taking my weekly trip down to the forest floor to, well,
Well, this is kind of embarrassing, but I was just taking my weekly trip down to Release. Yup, even sloths have to stop our busy schedule of eating and resting and, well, you know, busy stuff, to come down out of the trees once a week to poop. Told you it was embarrassing, but I have to tell you, it felt good and releasing. I think that might shed some light on how release is a part of Sabbath. We can think of release as allowing us to move, act, or flow freely. I can concur that this is exactly what happened. But for you busy humans, it might be harder to imagine, and maybe even harder to do. Let's check in with our kid reporters to see how hard it can be to release and just how good it feels.
Hey-ho, right here.
And River, reporting from Mall of America.
We're here at Dutchman's Deck where they have all kinds of rope challenges and a slide.
That's right, and it's called the Anchor Drop.
The anchor drop and ropes course are a whopping 56 feet above Nickelodeon Universe.
And it's the longest slide I've ever seen. And we're here to give it a try and give our review of what it's like to step off that platform and go sailing through the universe.
What? Well, I think you mean Nickelodeon Universe.
Ha 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 ha. How do you feel about taking the slide?
I'm actually feeling a bit squeamish. I can't imagine what it will be like to step off that platform out onto nothing.
I know, right? I think I will love it once I'm flying. But that first step, that feels like it's going to be the hardest.
Right? And you have to trust that the equipment all has to do its job, and all you have to do is step off and let go.
I know it's the hardest. I generally like to be in control of, well, everything.
You do. I hadn't noticed.
Okay. Anyway, it's time to give this a try.
Okay. Well, I thought that was awesome. It felt so free, flying through the air.
It was hard to take that first step, but once I did it, it was like flowing down a river, like flying through the jungle. Well, it was amazing. It was hard to believe that I almost didn't step off.
Agreed. It just felt so great to be free like that. Let's do it again!
Fantastic reporting, River and Ray. Let's give a hand for our kid reporters. Thank you. I'm not sure if I could step off and go down a slide 56 feet above the ground, but I did because I filmed the video. It was a little scary though. It is time for our big kids to head to the gym with Heidi, and then our littles can go this way too to the media center, to the nest. Grown-ups, you can stand up and find someone you didn't arrive with to say hello, and maybe share your own story of a time you had to take a step that felt scary at first. Or maybe if you have a giant slide story, you can share that as well.
It's gonna be great. I'm excited about it.
Well, I got another song for you guys. And to be honest, if you guys want to just keep having your conversations while I'm playing this, that's just fine with me because I just finished writing it last night. So, you know, I mean, I feel like you guys tend to get the unpolished, unvarnished sort of version of me anyway. Yeah, thanks, Dan. You just focused, just dialed right in. But yeah, so this is, I don't really know how it goes, how it's going to go, or actually how it goes either, I suppose. But so when you write a song, sometimes you gotta kind of learn it, and so I haven't quite had time for that whole process yet. So you get what you get. But this is called Wake Up, and it was like with all of this cease and resist stuff rumbling around in me as we've been planning it and talking about it. So it's just for you. Maybe this will be the only time it's ever played. I don't know. Yeah, so this is called Wake Up. Start again. If there was permission, if there was a moment, what could this be? If we planted pockets of potential, rewild monocrop monotony, we could stay, we could stay, we could stay. We could play, we could play, we could play our games. We could stay, we could stay, we could stay all day. Or wake up, could something stir in me? I don't know what this is, but I know I've been asleep. So wake up, 'cause I know there's a dream. Part of knowing is the letting go, and disturbance the peace. So wake up, wake up, wake up. Don't forget who you've been, who you hope to be. I hope facing either way, you can find your peace. It's hard to feel so broken, hard to feel in need. The only dealing with that reality is coming clean. We could stay, we could stay, we could stay. We could play, we could play, we could play our games. We could stay, we could stay, we could stay all day. Or stirring me. I don't know what this is, but I know I've been asleep. Wake up, 'cause I know there's a dream. Part of knowing is the letting go, and disturbance the peace. So wake up, wake up, wake up. 'Cause we got blackout curtains, the white noise ain't working. Doctor, I'm not certain there's anything out there I need. And I'm dreaming, but I can't sleep anymore. But wake up, 'cause something's stirring me. I don't know what this is, but I know I've been asleep. So wake up, 'cause I know there's a dream. Part of knowing is the letting go, and disturbance the peace.
Well, that could just be the message right there. That was beautiful. Thank you, Chris. Good morning. It's good to be together. So I have a confession that when we were planning this series, I initially thought, let's do 3 weeks on Sabbath. And I kind of scoffed at the idea of doing any more. I thought, what is there to say that could go beyond 3 weeks of talking about rest, of ceasing and resisting? And now that this is the last week of a message in this series, I could maybe do another 12. Though it's like the more I've been learning, the more I want to dive into it even more. So we've spent the last 4 weeks talking about cease and resist, about Sabbath, and Sabbath as the practice of ceasing and resisting, which is intentional, set aside time to practice being rather than practice doing, right? It's kind of an act of, when we talk about resistance, really, what we're resisting is any messages that we, or like systems that are in place that we know well and often subconsciously know very well that would have us believe the lies that we are what we produce, right? Like our value as a person is tied to our production or our output in our work, or how much we're getting done off of that checklist that never does end. Those lies even try to convince us that the work ever really can get done, right? Like, it's an evolving, revolving door. So rest, we have come to understand, is actually sort of an equal partner to work in the rhythm of life. We've spent some time recognizing that there's a natural rhythm of activation and rest. There's a slide in a little bit here that's got the parabola. I stole it from Chris and Katie from last week. The rhythm of rest and work. That we're always somewhere on that wave, riding that wave, and that existing in the rhythm of Sabbath, of resting, of stopping the work, stopping being at the peak all the time, like going down into those valleys and into the depths of our guts and getting to know who we are is critically, critically important. Like, it's really almost an urgent issue at this point. Like, I have gotten sick before when either my mind or my body have been telling me it's time to stop, it's time to slow down. But then I have these messages that I carry around in my pack, and they're the heavy bits, usually at the bottom. I don't even want to reach all the way down to try to get them out to remove them, right? But those messages of like, no, keep going, there's work to do, there's like this stuff has to get done, right? Like there is a rhythm that our bodies and our minds will demand of us because we are a part of that rhythm of all the earth. The idea of intentional set-aside time and space to stop our labors, it's not even, oftentimes when I think of Sabbath, it's like this Sunday school word that I learned that was related to the Ten Commandments, and it usually had something to do with like a should, like you should go to church on Sundays, or you should, do self-care practices, and on top of all the stuff you have to do that has to get done, also do that, right? And but it's really like when you look at the long history of humanity and the stuff that we have access to, the histories we have access to, including other faith practices and spiritual communities and all of that, like there's something about this that appears all over these wisdom traditions and cultures around the world. Like just religiously thinking, like when you go into Catholic Mass, right? Into a cathedral. The Mass begins, the space kind of transforms the minute the first prayer is offered. Now notice that the space doesn't change, but the time is transformed. So that's ideally what happens. Or like when monks enter an ashram or a monastery and they sit in silence, it's only when the bells toll, when the bells ring, that the meditation begins. The space may be the same, but the time is made sacred by the mindfulness that rises in the striking of the bell. When Muslims are called to prayer 5 times a day, all their work is set down, and all the ancient words spoken out loud for centuries, they kind of, the imagery that I've heard in those spaces is like we're sending these prayers up into the sky like fragrance, like incense. So it's not just like Judeo-Christian. This is built into human histories. And think about that the space can remain the same, but the time changes. The time is transformed. Like when I think about that beyond religious settings and spiritual settings, I think about times when we've gone to some friends' houses on a Sunday afternoon and kind of co-parented with some friends, and just like kids romping all around, and we're cooking food together and feeding each other and laughing and resting, and like that, there's something about that we had agreed on making this an intentional time of caring for one another, caring for one another's kids, being together, not doing anything in particular. Like that's a holy space. I've heard it said, and here's one of your fill-ins, I've heard it said that we make holy what we give our attention to. We make holy the things that we give our attention to. It's worth noting here, too, as a reminder, and maybe even more explicitly, that the rest that we're talking about isn't just to save up for future work, right? It's not so that we can be able to produce really well later. It's in direct opposition to the attitudes and messages that our value and our production are at all related to one another. Have you heard of Tricia Hersey before? Or maybe if you follow the NAP ministry, N-A-P ministry, on Instagram. It's worth the follow, the NAP ministry. But Tricia Hersey, she's an author, an activist, a community organizer, a theologian out of the traditions of Black liberation theology. And she's the author of the book called Rest is Resistance, a Manifesto. And it is excellent. And in it, she writes that we do not believe, we being this rest is resistance movement that she's a part of. We do not believe in the toxic idea that we are resting to recharge and rejuvenate so that we can be prepared to give more output to capitalism. What we have internalized as productivity has been informed by a capitalist, ableist, patriarchal system. Our drive and obsession to always be in a state of productivity leads us to the path of exhaustion, guilt, and shame. We falsely believe we are not doing enough and that we must always be guiding our lives toward more labor. The distinction that must be repeated as many times as necessary is this: we are not resting to be productive. We are resting simply because it is our divine right to do so. This week, as we talk about rest, as we talk about Sabbath, about ceasing and resisting, we're talking about the possibility of releasing as a byproduct of Sabbath and rest practice. Holding the matter of life, like holding our everything, rather than kind of white-knuckling everything, it's really about kind of loosening our grip a little bit. Holding it loose. Sometimes letting it drop. Sometimes noticing that it dropped. Sometimes blessing that on the ground. Or cursing it and turning away and walking. That's what we're talking about. Release as a possibility and a byproduct. Practicing Sabbath in moments of our day or on a weekly rhythm. That's the way I've most often heard of it from my Jewish friends and Christian friends, is that they think of it as like a once-a-week thing. It's a prescribed day and time, and the entire community has an agreement about that. Like, we're going to do this together, right? But practicing Sabbath in your day, in a daily way. Practicing Sabbath in a weekly way, in a monthly way, making it a part of your annual rhythms. That parabola, that wavelength there, like that isn't just like moment to moment to moment to moment. That's also over a year, right? Do you have periods of your life throughout a year where you're a little more low energy maybe? You need a little more rest? For me, it's December. And now in this phase of parenthood, it's also Maycember. I'm like, I need to rest a little bit. It gives us the opportunity to evaluate our priorities. And that, I think, is such a gift that we can give to one another and to ourselves. Because if everything is a priority, here's one of your feelings too. If everything is a priority, then nothing is really a priority. Right? There are so many things that demand our attention. So many things that ask us to hold on to it really tight, white-knuckling it, right? But regular, ongoing practices in the rhythm of rest and resistance and restoration and delight done in community can really, really help us to set helpful priorities and then release the things that are not ultimately as important to us. We think maybe they were. Turns out they might not be. So I'm going to ask you to kind of ground yourself. I just want us to feel a moment of release, okay? So what we're going to do is just kind of ground yourself, feel the weight of your body in your chair. Maybe if your feet can touch the ground, you can do that. If you're listening to the podcast later in your car, don't do this. Pull over. What I want to say is that if you're here, in this room, watching online at some point, maybe right now live or at a future date, or listening to the podcast, that means that you have already given yourself permission to rest for a moment. Well done. Notice as we sit together here in this space, notice whatever thoughts that are coming into your headspace, acknowledge them and then let them go. Let your thoughts kind of slow down. They'll be back on their own. You don't need to hold on to them. Now what I want to invite you to do is to squeeze your fists really tight and tense the muscles in your arms and chest and legs and feet. Maybe even clench your jaw or furrow your brow. Hold it as tight as you can, shoulders up to your earlobes. And now release that tension. Loosen the muscles around your skull and in your face. In your chest, let your belly soften. Let your shoulders fall down. Let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. That is a small moment of release. Maybe even emotional release. That practice for me sometimes works. Imagine what kind of experience life could be when we build more rest into our daily and weekly or monthly or yearly lives. We might better remember that we simply need to participate in the rhythms, to notice that activation and rest rhythm, and just ride the wave a little bit. That is liberation. The ability to participate in the natural rhythms of life, that's liberation. I love getting entranced in things. How many of you love that moment, like reading a really good novel or watching a movie or something? For me, up until 18 days ago, not that I'm counting, going to Timberwolves games was like one of my favorite ways to just get totally enraptured in something, to like feel the energy in the room, right? To get into the game, and not just the game, but like the narratives around the game, like what players are going for a record, or will the Timberwolves pull out a win against the Mavericks, or how many times is Luka Doncic going to be on the ground pretending he got hurt? Like that, there's all sorts of the. Go Celtics. I love that, getting enraptured in something and just totally brought in, or like live music, going to a concert, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than that. Like grooving a little bit and hearing music live and feeling the vibration in the room and being with people around you, and everyone's just sort of like in a contracted agreement that we are here to be delighted or moved or have our minds blown, There's something about that, but there's always this sort of jarring moment where the lights go on at the end, right? And here all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's a world outside of what I'm experiencing, going back out onto the streets of the city, and you're kind of like, oh, all these cars going by, they didn't just experience what I just experienced. It's kind of a jarring moment. It's kind of a bit of illusion that with entertainment or sports or music or whatever, movies, it's a bit of an illusion that we sort of allow ourselves to get into, right? We get sort of seduced into a trance with things like live music and movies and sports and whatever the things are. But it's not even just those entertainment things. I think that in the same way, we can over time become engrossed in the trance of our labor too, whatever that is. Whether it's a workplace or the to-do list that just doesn't end, or the demands of partnering, being a partner in a marriage or a relationship, or being a neighbor, or being a parent, whatever that thing is, we can get kind of entranced by it and sucked in that way. Because these things are important things, right? The things we carry in our packs are important things. And it's all important. And it has to get done right away. And it won't get done without me, and I cannot stop, or it will all fall apart. It's all on me, and terrible things are going to happen if it doesn't get done. I have to keep working because I have things to buy. And there are bills to pay to buy those things. And then I need to get a faster computer or a better tool or whatever the case may be, to help me to do this job so that I can get paid to pay the bill, to be part of that cycle, right? But once we're in the trance, there never seems to be a good enough reason to stop. The wisdom of this practice of Sabbath time is that at a defined moment, it is time to stop, to just set it down for a moment, to acknowledge that, hey, it can be set down, and terrible things are not happening. Or the terrible things that are happening aren't as terrible as I thought they would be, right? We can't wait until we're finished, because we're never finished. And we can't wait till things slow down, because the world is going faster and faster. And we can't control that. There are a million good reasons to keep on going, and never, it seems, a good enough reason to stop. So, one of the things that I love about rest, about this concept, is that it's astonishingly useless, right? Like, rest time where you're not getting anything done, it is unflinchingly useless. Wayne Muller wrote this book. I think it's been referenced before. He wrote a book called Sabbath, Finding Rest, Renewal, and Delight in Our Busy Lives. This is a fantastic text. And what he wrote in there is that one of the astonishing attributes of Sabbath time is its unflinching uselessness. Nothing will get done. Not a single item will be checked off. No goal will be realized. It's a time marked thoroughly without measurable value. And here, he writes, for him, are the useless things that grow in time. To walk without a purpose, to no place in particular, where we are astonished by the textured bark of an oak tree, to notice the red color showing itself for the first time in the maple in fall, to see animals in the shapes of clouds, to walk barefoot in clover, to fall into an unexpected conversation with a stranger and find something delicious and unbidden take shape, to taste the orange that we eat, the juice running down our chin, the pulp between teeth, to take a deep sigh, an exhale followed by a listening silence, to allow a recollection of a moment with a loved one, a feeling of how our life has evolved, to give thanks for a single step upon the earth, to give thanks for any blessing previously unnoticed, the gentle brush of a hand on a lover's body, the sweet surrender to sleep in the afternoon. The reality, I think, is that something is at stake in participating in this rhythm of ceasing and resisting. And what I think is at stake is liberation. Liberation is at stake. Alice Walker said, "You don't always have to be doing something. You can just be." And that's plenty. In biblical history, just as in our world today, ceasing and resisting ultimately is about liberation. And I think it makes sense to notice this today. I mean, we are this close to Juneteenth. We are in Pride Month. Happy, happy, happy Pride, everybody. And liberation is at stake always, right? To hear from people like Tricia Hersey, a black liberation theologian and author from the Nat Ministry. Again, she said that the systems that have been lying and guiding us all blindly to urgent and unsustainable fantasies. We've replaced our inherent self-esteem with toxic productivity. Like, liberation is at stake in our own lives. I think what happens for us is we're able, in this practice of resting and of stopping, we have the opportunity to be ready for the world in our own bodies rather than being held hostage by it. I want to talk about the pack just for a moment. Can you tell I'm trying to pack like 3 weeks into this message? Yeah, okay, good. Just wanted to name that. I want to talk about the packs because we can always pick up our packs once again. It's something we've said on repeat for 4 weeks now 5. We are encouraging each other to just set the pack down, knowing that we can pick it back up again, right? This practice of resting, I think, also, though, gives us the chance to reach our hands to actually unbuckle. I've not done this since we've got this prop. To unbuckle the backpack, to look in it, and to reach all the way down to the bottom. My work bag, there's stuff that's been in that bag for years. I'm scared to look. But to reach all the way down, like way down, I can't get in there. Pretend I did that. To reach all the way down, I think we actually can start pulling some things out and name what we're resisting. Like the messages that we have to keep lugging the pack around without stopping. That what's being carried is more valuable than the carrier, right? That the cargo is actually more important than the one carrying it. I think that's something we're resisting. That we are what we produce or accomplish. I think we're resisting that message. That we have to keep up with the Joneses on their terms. I think we're resisting the lie that we need to earn things like rest and delight and restoration, or being a part of a community and being known well, or perhaps even worse, like we have to earn love for ourselves or from others or from God. I think that's like baseline human stuff, right? We're resisting those messages. We're resisting the myth of perfectionism and the constant sense of urgency that everything has to get done right now, right? We're resisting that. We're resisting the unearned value of rugged individualism. We're resisting the need to engage in or accomplish more rather than doing anything fully. That quality over quantity. We're resisting either or thinking. It's good or bad, right? We're resisting power hoarding. We're resisting the myth of human objectivity or reason, as if we in our bodies and brains have the ability to be objective about anything. I mean, this list of things that we're resisting, the stuff that's way at the bottom of our packs, it starts to sound a lot like the markers of like white supremacy culture, if you're familiar with Tema Okun's work. So I wonder if we were to take those things out and lay them on the ground and let them rest there, what that would be like. I wonder what it would be like to release the need for control. As a community, Fabric is a community that is constantly working toward innovating and experimenting about like what it means to be church in a time when so many of the loudest voices in religious and spiritual spaces have pretty well gotten in bed with power and the systems that perpetuate the problem of restlessness. I'm grateful that we have a space like this to talk about this, to start these conversations, to bring them to our groups and our families and our friends. I'm grateful that we have this space to look at ceasing and resisting from a number of different angles. And so my hope is that this space, whether it's here in the room or online in some fashion, my hope is that this is a space for all of us to enter into, knowing that it is safe to put our pack down even just for a moment, and that we might all develop a good sense of who we are, why we are, what we're up to, and supporting one another in that work. And so, may it be so, amen.
Sorry, I figured you could handle a moment of dead air. I was holding the baby. Well, if you would, go ahead and pass those white bags in the aisles, on the floor, wherever you can find them. Just a reminder that that's where we put those communication cards that hopefully you've put in some information. Putting? Hopefully you've put some information on there, some of the ways that you're putting yourself into this community with your needs, your hopes, your prayers, your fears, all that stuff. So welcome. And just to say out loud that we do also collect money to support this community. And most of us do that by online giving, and especially if you're new around here, don't feel any pressure at all about that. I'm just glad you're here. Just got one more song to sing together. You're welcome to just sit, stand, feel what you need to feel, move how you need to move, and this is called To the Great Unknown. We've used it a good number of times, and it's by the Minnesota band Cloud Cult. And yeah, it just feels like it honors some of that wildness, that wonder and curiosity that we don't even quite know what might come up when we're willing to set down some of this stuff. And I don't know how that feels for you, but for me, it's a little scary. Looking into the depth of all of that and wondering, but trusting that and doing it anyway. I encourage you to do it. And welcome back some kids too. Yeah. All right. This is To the Great Unknown. Called your name and you formed out of the emptiness. I called your name and I swear this time I'll be my best. I called your name and I felt home, sweet home. You find grace when overtaken by the tempest. May you find humor in the cynic and the pessimist. May you find faith in the great Lay it all down in a calm, safe space. And if the dream doesn't come, you just wait. Lay it all down in a calm, safe space. And if the dream doesn't come, you just wait. You just wait. We were made to walk through fire in our dance and thank you. God gave us thirst and it's a hunger for the universe. Oh no, 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 I'll never let you go. Sometimes this life's a lonely road, but you gotta find it on your own. So build a happy ship, 'cause this living is a trip. Gotta sing the kind of song that you like singing. To the great unknown. To the great unknown. Don't go drowning your own thinkings. Gave you hands so you could pick up the broken pieces. God gave you feet so you could find your own way home. Let's run away, just know your troubles tend to follow. Pack your bags, just know that everything here's borrowed. The path maker's a trickster, so make your own damn road. No, 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 I'll never let you go. Sometimes this life's a lonely road, but you gotta find it on your own. Build a happy ship, 'cause this living is a trip. Gotta sing the kind of song that you like singing. Oh no, 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 you never were alone. Sometimes this life's a lonely road, but you gotta find it on your own. So build a happy ship, 'cause this living is the trip. Gotta sing the kind of song that you like singing. To the great unknown. To the great unknown.
I'm adding balloons to this little section. Oh, that is delightful. So I was thinking about the last week of sort of inspiration, invitation, practices that you may take with you, and there will be a blog post with that more explicitly laid out. But I'm going to just read to you about kind of this assignment that we invite you, not assignment, a practice we invite you into in your own practice of Sabbath. So in this book, hi Sig. So in this book, he writes about the idea of thinning, of thinning like plants, right? Like you need to, when you grow tomatoes, you have to kind of prune them to give room for the tomatoes to grow. Like gardening imagery is really pressing for me right now for some reason. But thinning is a helpful thing to give space for new growth. And so we're talking about thinning a little bit. So the practice that I'm going to leave you with here is around thinning and actually letting go of things. So what can you let go of, it says? One thing, beginning with the smallest thing. A book, thank you. A book unread. Can it be given to the library? An old postcard on the refrigerator, no longer current. An old appliance never used. old clothing never worn? What of projects that feel like responsibilities but bring joy to no one? Pick one thing this week. One thing, and maybe another the next week, and discard something that has become unnecessary. Feel any release as you let it go. So I'm going to plop that right in your lap, and hopefully, if you do it, I'd love to hear what that experience was like for you. We're going to just keep saying it because next week we don't want you to show up here. Because next week we're not going to be here. June 30th, 2 weeks from today, we're going to be at Minnehaha Falls, right? Okay, how many of you have been to the falls before for a Fabric gathering? Yeah, okay, so you know where to find it. If you haven't been, I know where it is now. It's right there's a kind of a bandstand. It's right by, is it Tin Fish? Is that? Sea Salt. Sea Salt. Tin Fish is uptown. Oh, it used to be. It used to be uptown. Sea Salt. It's right by Sea Salt. So you go to Sea Salt and then find the noise and the group. That's us. And 10:30, same time, starting June 30th. It's going to be a great summer. We're going with the theme of supernatural. You'll learn more about that later. No, it's going to be fun, kind of looking at is our understanding of God, of the third strand, is this a supernatural thing, or is it as close and natural as our very breath? So we're going to play with that for 10 weeks. So with that, anything else to note? I don't think so. Thanks for being here. Let's enjoy some more music. Have a great Sunday. Happy Father's Day. Yeah.
Get that taste out of your mouth. Never get the paw prints out of the hen house now, and you can't go back same way you came. Rounding all the pieces up, but they just don't fit the same. White knuckles, maybe it's not so bad. So let your hair down now, white knuckles. Oh, maybe it's not so bad. Go ahead and let it down now. Won't let it out. Let it bleed. Did you get what you want? Did you get what you need? I'm behind the lines, behind the walls. Tell me, was the bet you made really that bad after all? White knuckles. Oh, maybe it's not so bad. So let your head down now, white knuckles. Oh, maybe it's not so bad. Just let it all come down now. Everybody needs to sleep at night. Everybody needs a crush, but couldn't be good enough. 'Cause nothing ever doesn't change, but nothing changes much. White knuckles. Oh, maybe it's not so bad. So let your head down now, white knuckles. Oh, maybe it's not so bad. Go ahead and let it down.